A team of 10 people has 45 lines of communication. Not tasks, not meetings, communication lines. Places where context gets lost, wires get crossed, and just stalls work. The formula is simple though. N times n minus 1 divided by 2. Team of 5, 10 lines of communication. Team of 15, 105. One person working with AI, one line of communication. Always one. And that math changes everything about how work gets done. Let's get into it. So this is the problem that no one sees with teams. Why are teams slower than they should be? It's because every team lead has felt something like this. You add a person to help speed things up, and inevitably things go slower. Fred Brooks, he identified this back in 1975 in the book The Mythical Man Month. Adding manpower to a late software project makes it later. That's it. It's not an opinion, okay? It's one of many widely cited observations in software project management. Now, why does this happen? Because work isn't just about work. Work is the work plus the coordination that goes with the work. And every person adds new lines of communication. So 2 people have 1 line between them. 5 people have 10 lines of communication between them. 10 people, 45 lines. 15, 105, 20 people, 90. You get much more than that, it gets stupid, crazy big. Now, for each line that's in place, context can get lost in translation. Decisions have to wait on somebody else's calendar or a meeting with somebody else. Work can get duplicated and the left hand may not know what the right hand is doing. Assumptions diverge silently until they collide in production. Like, it gets messy. Companies throw bodies at the problem, but oftentimes when they're throwing bodies, they're just adding more lines of communication, and every line of communication adds friction. This is that hidden tax that's on every team that's really ever. So why are we talking about this? It's because AI breaks that down because one person can do so many things. Section 2. Why one person in AI is structurally different. One person plus AI, one line of communication, always and forever. Doesn't matter for working across 6 specialties or 16 specialties. The coordination cost isn't reduced, it isn't optimized, it's eliminated entirely. Now, and this is the part that most people miss, they think AI is a faster tool. It's not. It's a structural change of how work organizes, okay? The tool argument is about speed. The structural argument is about topography, okay? The shape of the network. And the shape is a lot different when there's 5, 10, 15 people versus 1. In every team, okay, each person holds a fragment of the context. You spend enormous amounts of time and energy trying to make sure that all of the different fragments stay pointed in the same line, in the same direction, or are aligned. With AI, one entity holds the full context. There's no alignment problem because there's nothing to align. Everything's just there. It's amazing. Trust me. Now, there are 3 properties that a team just can't replicate when it comes to this singular context. Okay, and that first thing is the single context ceiling. In a team of 10, no single person holds a complete picture. period. Even the PM, they know what the timeline is, but they don't know the code intimately. The designer knows the interface, but not the business logic that went into it. The consultant often knows the strategy, but not the implementation constraints. One person plus AI holds all of that context. The context ceiling isn't distributed across multiple people. It's unified in one place. I can go from brand strategy to security architecture to course design to DevOps in the same hour at the same time if I need to. Now, not because I'm an expert in all of those fields. I am absolutely not. But because my system holds the context across all of them, context helps make that work coherent. And I can rely on AI for the expertise to help solve those problems, to help identify new problems. The skill underneath that is what we call interdisciplinary thinking. The ability to take a pattern from one domain and apply it to another, okay? A security architecture problem and a curriculum design problem can look completely different on the surface, but structurally, they both need boundaries, they both need permissions, they both need escalation paths. When one person holds the context across all of the domains, those connections become visible. They can see it, or at least I can. Maybe that's the ADHD talking. I'm not entirely sure. But on a team of 10, nobody is looking for those gaps. Nobody is looking for those associations because the context is fragmented inside of 10 different heads. So strategy and execution unification. In every team, there's always a handoff between one person who decides and the other person who does the doing, okay? That handoff is where intent gets diluted every single time. Nuance can get lost, and things that ship don't match the thing that was imagined in someone's head. And not often for the better, a lot of times for the worse. When I design a workflow, the same system implements it every single time. The strategist and the implementer are the same entity. There's no game of telephone going anywhere. There's no context lost. There's no nuance lost because we're one and the same. Now, this doesn't mean that I do everything myself. The agents will specialize and help bring that information to me that I need to be able to make the critical decisions and can bring it to me in context. But the direction flows through the one line and not through a chain of interpretations. The third thing is self-governing, a system that maintains itself. So my cognitive architecture, my system tracks its own performance. It logs what's worked on, it flags what wasn't worked on and needs to be worked on, and it enforces its own standards across the board. A team needs a retrospective, needs someone to help facilitate that retrospective, needs everyone to be fully honest, and those people need to follow through. A self-governing system does all of those things and more automatically because that's what it was architected to do. Biologists call this autopoth. I probably got that wrong. But in essence, it's a system that maintains and reproduces its own structure. My system does the same thing. It monitors its own integrity and repairs drift before I can even see it, before I even notice it. Case in point, first thing, day one. Let me show you what this looks like in practice, okay? 16 work sessions in a single day, okay? 12 hours of active work in a single day. The output spanned 6 different disciplines, Okay, 6 distinct specialties: platform engineering, AI architecture, brand management, product management, instructional design, and DevOps. Okay, estimating approximately 73 hours was saved, meaning that had I done the equivalent traditional output of work, it would have taken 73 hours of a specialist's time to be able to do those things, and multiple specialists. So you're talking about the coordination that goes with it. A traditional team doing this work needs 5, 6 people. Okay. It would not be done in a single day. That's easily a month and a half worth of work. And not because the work is hard, but it takes coordination. And that coordination amongst people takes time. So let me give you a different use case. So this one wasn't day 1. This was day 39. Okay. 39 days I've been working on my system. I had 168 separate sessions over those 39 calendar days. Now, what had I built? 19 specialized AI agents, 17 internal tools, actual skills that I use on a regular basis, 20 automation hooks, 80 plus tracked features inside of my system, almost 200 YouTube transcripts processed because I love my YouTube, 500 plus emails triaged. Basically, when I say triaged, the things that need to be archived were archived. The things that needed to be brought to my attention were brought to my attention so I could do the thinking work, not the doing work. I created 3 client prototypes. I created a full security scanner with thousands of lines of logic. I have actually built a complete product distribution pipeline as well. And all of this, each session averaged between 5 and 9x leverage on my time. For every 1 hour of output, I saved 5 to 9 hours of output. Sorry, for every 1 hour of input, every hour that I put in, I got the equivalent work of 5 to 9 hours out of that. Now, 68 of the sessions involved work that could not have been done without AI. The tedium would have been too much. It's not faster. It's literally impossible for one person to work through otherwise. My peak session was actually a 20 to 50x leverage. It's insane what we can get. And almost 600 hours saved across all of the measured sessions. That's 15 weeks of full-time person working with me. Now, I'm not telling you this as a flex. I'm not an egotistical person, okay? I'm telling you this to illustrate because the numbers are proving the structural argument that I'm making. This isn't a productivity hack. This happens when you eliminate coordination costs from the equation. This happens when you build a cognitive architecture and use it and keep it in place. And these aren't hypotheticals. Every single session was tracked. Every hour was logged. The data is real. If you want to see the data, let me know in the comments and I will toss it into a Google Drive document and share it in the comments. So let's take a second and get back to the formula. Okay? N times n minus 1, all that over 2. A team of 10 doing the work has 45 communication lines, 45 places where things can break, context leaks, decisions stall, and intent gets diluted. I had 1 line of communication. That 1 line of communication has carried me through 168 sessions, 6 specialties, and almost 500 hours of saved output. The leverage of this isn't just the speed, it's structural elimination of the coordination costs. Period. So, what does this mean for you? Let's start with the opposite. What this doesn't mean, okay? This doesn't mean that teams are dead, okay? That would be lazy and is just flat out wrong. Teams are essential for different things. Work that requires a physical presence, relationships and trust building that you can only do with other humans. A creative collision, sometimes a diverse perspective generates something that nothing else would have, you both wouldn't have come to it on your own. And I truly believe that with the doing not being the work and the thinking being the work, the different perspectives that we come across that other people have are going to be more respected, because that is going to be of value. Your perspective and how you solve problems is going to be part of your value moving forward. Okay? Accountability often require another human being. It is tough to hold yourself accountable, but you can, but it helps if there are other people there. Now, when does this mean coordination heavy knowledge work, the kind of work that spends more time aligning than doing? That's where this one person plus AI model has a very strategic advantage. Okay. So the question shouldn't be, should I replace my team with AI? Okay. The question should be, where is the coordination cost eating my team alive? So here are 3 things that you can do this week, okay, to help move you forward. First thing you can do is map your coordination costs, okay? List every recurring meeting, status update, handoff, alignment check in your calendar, okay? For each one of them, though, I want you to ask you this question. Is this coordinating work or is this coordinating people, okay? The ones that are coordinating people, you're not going to replace those, nor do you want to replace those. But the ones coordinating work, those are candidates for elimination, or even better, having AI do it for you. Most teams I consult with spend 40 to 60% of their time on coordination, not work, okay? It's coordinating about the work. And if we can just get the work through, that saves time every time. Find your single line opportunities. Now, you want to start looking at your workflows where one person keeps briefing another person who then goes and does the work. Okay. That's the strategist implementer chain. Okay. Manager specialist chain, writer editor chain. Every time there's a handoff, ask, could one person in AI hold both sides? Okay. Now start small, one workflow, one chain. See what happens when the coordination cost drops to 0. Figure out what your trust canopy is and see if you can get that to 0. Build context, not prompts. This is the part where a lot of people get it wrong. They think AI leverage comes from like better prompts when it actually comes from better context. Okay. If you were to write down who you are, what you do, how you communicate, what your standards are, what you're working on right now, and you feed that into an AI tool every single session, that's a well-prompted stranger who's going to give you a decent answer. Okay? We've talked about this before on the channel. A context-rich system, okay? It's going to give you sharper, more specific feedback and answers, okay? The difference is the coordination cost of having to re-explain yourself every single time with AI. That's why you should be working on building your cognitive architecture. The organization corollary. I've been saying for weeks now, the doing isn't the work anymore. The thinking is the work. And this is the organizational equivalent to that. Okay. If your doing isn't the work, then coordinating doing isn't the work either. Period. Stop coordinating the work. Okay. The value moves up the stack from doing to thinking, from coordinating execution to directing the strategy. Okay. And the thinking that matters most, that's what we call interdisciplinary thinking. Seeing the connections between the security problem and the design problem, the marketing strategy and operations workflow. That's what coordination cost is actually hiding. The chance to think across different domains instead of just coordinating between them. The people in the organizations that get this first don't just move faster, they move differently, they move more efficiently, and ultimately they end up playing a completely different game than everyone else. So the next time someone tells you AI is just a faster tool, talk to them about the formula. N times n minus 1 divided by 2. That's a cost that nobody really accounts for or even thinks about these days. And AI doesn't just reduce it, it almost completely eliminates it. The leverage isn't just the speed, it's the structural elimination of the coordination costs. If this is something that resonated with you, this is the stuff that we talk about over on the Digitally Demented School community. We'd love to have you over there. We're constantly talking about the intersection of AI and psychology. And these are not going to be prompt tricks. These are not tool reviews and things like that, although there may be one or two here or there. Like, this is thinking about the structural thinking that it's going to take to turn AI, not just make it a faster tool, but into different ways that we're working with it. Okay. The community is free. The link is in the description. We would love to have you. Thank you again for staying throughout the entire video. If you don't mind, like, share, and subscribe. Help us get the word out. And AI is changing the way that we are thinking, and not enough people are talking about it. And this is something I am absolutely passionate about. If you enjoyed this video, check out that one. It's a pretty good video too. Until next time.